start. So if they can play the way we've been seeing them before against Winrar, it might not be the same result. However, we know that Winrar Salesmen have been looking really strong today. Obviously, they made themselves to winners finals today, and they did really well last week too. So this is a clash of two teams. We know Winrar have got the edge on Myztro before, but this is the point of the tournament that Myztro play their best. So it could be different here, but it's going to be hard to...
Well, even today, the Winrar licensed salesmen actually were able to defeat Myztro Gaming. I believe the score might have even been 2-0 consorting the bracket, but they've beat this team once before. They have to do it again. It's now they kind of know they can have that record on Myztro in tournament is going to be really useful for them. But at the same time, you just said it yourself, Myztro later on in the bracket will play at their best, and we are starting to see that as each week progresses. Myztro fell just short of qualification last week. This is another chance for them to sort of almost redeem themselves. They've been present at QuakeCon. They've played amazingly well. They've qualified for a major LAN before. They just need to do it again. And that's going to be easier said than done.
But there's one glaring difference between the teams here, though, and that's that Myztro have Hell on the Slash, and it looks like Winrar have Liths on that Nyx again. So the difference in strategies and sort of available tools there is obviously Nyx having that Ghost Walk means, you know, that sort of power-up confirming that timing your Ghost Walk so you reappear right as it respawns and you're standing there and you're on whatever it is that respawns. But at the same time, Myztro are going to have Slash, which is just, when you've got Sorlag and Slash on the same team, you use Plasma Trail and you use Acid at the same point, and you've just got all this damaging area that no one can really stand on without taking a serious amount of damage. So it's going to be like, I think there's going to be a lot of like sort of early secure potential coming out from Winrar, but at the same time, the consistency, area denial, defensive capabilities from Myztro might shine through if they have the coordination with the Acid and the Plasma Trail.
But at the same time, the Nyx sort of appearing into either the soul or the power-up. We've seen that used before, that it is a really popular tactic, but what we saw Too Good do earlier today was he understood that he was going to die, but Noctis was lying in wait at a certain point where the soul would immediately be passed the second Too Good would take it with Nyx. He knew he was going to die, but Noctis was lying in wait to pick it up and then just take it straight back. I wonder if we're going to see stuff like that throughout this series.
Okay, Obelisk B definitely has seemed to be the most preferred Obelisk on this map so far. We have to remember that Tempest Shrine is the newest map to competitive sacrifice, so there is a chance that when it lifts, there's a lot of damage, managing to secure that quad damage, and also the first Obelisk going through. So it looks like Obelisk B on Tempest Shrine is actually a much preferred Obelisk, as opposed to a lot of maps, you know, players will teams will kind of just go with whatever's nearby. They seem to actively prefer B here. It looks like you have a lot of defensive options around. It's quite hard to sort of attack in certain situations, but at the same time, Winrar with a very good lead so far, and Juvenile getting a lot of kills with this quad damage LG.
We've seen it a million times. You get the soul, you drop it off early on, you also get the power up, and that's going to be around 30% at the very beginning before the other team even has a chance to fight for it. And we've seen it once more. This is a great start for Winrar Salesmen.
After getting a lot of damage, Sparty going to drop for it. This fight was quite stacked, and that Doom face-off. Oh, another frag too. It's really well played from Garpy. It has a significant amount of life left actually after that. Just going to pass the soul up. Coordination, Razy going to be able to pick it up, but already Winrar getting 39%. A nice, strong start for them to have at the very least.
Just look at how many heads in the Winrar Salesmen just closed in there. Pretty much every member of that team just closed in on Myztro. It's very hard for them to survive that one. Oh, Razy with the surprise, but yeah, he has to go for that reset. There's not much you can do there apart from just risk giving it back.
Did it actually go far enough?
Looks out of bounds to me.
It did, yeah, it did manage to out of bounds. Now, it takes a little while for the soul to reset on this map though, so it's not going to respawn for a few seconds yet as we go. There's not quite as much of a reliable strategy in the long term.
But I feel like there's pros and cons to fast appearing times and slow reappearing times. And when it's slow, like right there, it gives the entire team a chance to fight in that middle location for the soul. You know, the fight can take place before it's even appeared. And in many ways, if you win that fight, your reward will be the soul. We saw Team Liquid last week do the same thing. The second we would see any enemy team go for the reset, they would close in on that location and control it immediately.
Still though, looks like Myztro are able to hold on to the soul for a little while now, but that protect can be up in a few seconds. Looks like Winrar really here trying to get it. Sparty getting a lot of frags. Faye's going to drop. Lith's able to get the protection. Now, protection on Nyx is very dangerous. Oh, missing that throw. Thought we wouldn't see it, but we did.
But with that protection on deck, there's no Ghost Walk, but with the health and armor, even with this, doesn't really need it too much. Right next to 2 health.
Makes this being very difficult for Myztro now though. On Liths with that protection, Garpy going to drop down all of Winrar here, ready to defend. Protection just about to run out, but still, they have the soul, they've done the damage, and that lead is extended even further. Oh, goodbye phase.
Yep, for now.
That's it though. Getting the toe in it, unfortunately, so that damage over time probably going to finish him off here. Oh, before he actually is able to take it away.
I was trying to, before he even has a chance to get back. Oh, that double gauntlet from Bus Driver. That is like Gauntlet Alley on this map. We see so often those just chain from gauntlet kill after gauntlet kill in that one particular alleyway.
It just looks quite difficult to actually get the solo away from Obelisk B though, because if you go the quickest way, which is via that corridor, you're almost guaranteed to, I mean, stuff like that, right? You're almost guaranteed to just run face first into an enemy who's just revving up that gauntlet. But if you go around the outside, it takes you much longer to get there, and at any point if you lose the soul, your opponents have the opportunity to maybe just try and throw it off map. You're very much sort of stuck between a rock and a hard place if you're trying to get through. Oh no, Sparty's...
Or you're stuck between one hole or another hole, if you're in Sparty's case, unfortunately.
Razy has the soul, trying to jump through, but we can see Winrar there trying to stop him.
Well, he second-guessed it. He definitely knew they were nearby. But they're no doubt going to beat him to this location. Catches him with the gauntlet again, the same kind of thing. You have to try and really pile in as fast as possible. But your line of vision in that one particular part of Tempest Shrine, it's so limited. If you're going to be going full speed ahead, you don't really have the chance to calculate who might be there. You just kind of have to dedicate towards it. If they're there, so be it.
Bus Driver's going to secure the soul back again, though, for another time. Oh! So many frags going through. Lith's getting a double, but eventually dying anyway on the point. Razy going to get that quad damage. Now, this is the best opportunity that Myztro have had so far to take the soul back in a clean fashion. They have the quad damage, they have the numbers.
The problem is if Razy eats one single rail, he's going to go down. They passed in the soul, but
oh no, he missed it! That's actually going to waste valuable seconds. And the respawn timers on Winrar, I mean, if they respawn in time to contest this now and they are only just there, that one fumble could be very punishing.
Oh no!
Oh no, Razy! He drops the quad damage off the edge!
That is, I mean, they've been able to pick things up. That is one of the most unfortunate ways you can lose the soul unnecessarily, but I mean, it happens.
Damage though as well. I mean, lost the soul, lost the power. I mean, do you think there was a potential that it was on purpose?
I don't think so.
It looked like he saw that there was two members of Winrar right in front of him. Do you think he wanted to lose the... He didn't want to give up the quad damage, and he didn't want to give them the soul at the same time.
To be honest,
there's a chance it was deliberate.
To be honest, I think he just fell off. To be completely honest with you, accidents happen. He tried to sort of go around there, but has the soul, so he has his chance at redemption right now.
Busy passing over to FaZe. Very weak though, can't really afford to extend in any of these fights. Some health, trying to keep himself healthy, but already Winrar just in the right place at the right time every time. They're doing such a good job of just getting in the way. But hell, so Myztro might be winning this, but there we go, scattered opponents, lightning guns all over the place. Only so many targets you can go for, and Sparty now holding onto the soul. Try and get it back as Winrar, looking at almost 80%. But hell, has the gauntlet, gonna get it.
Bit of a crucial 1 versus 1. I think Hell realized that, look, if I'm going to go down here, I kind of need to make sure that it's going to take them a little bit longer to drop off. So even though he lost that 1 versus 1, he was still able to have a little bit of a better situation, making sure that they don't drop off the soul.
Speaking of dropping off though, looks like it is off map. It's going to be a little while before it respawns again in that center area. Oh, a little bit of acid, unfortunately. Going to be doing that down, and FaZe is taken out. But so Winrar have the protection too, and the soul. This is going to be one of those really difficult situations for Myztro to get back on. They're fighting against the power-up, they're fighting against the soul being there for, Juvenile just dropped it off, but it looks like Myztro able to pick it up. And Hell just snuck past everyone there. Beautiful movement, using that plasma trail. Even though Juvenile has the protection,
he's definitely not going to win this 1 versus 1. Hell does a little bit of damage, it might be enough. Razy goes down too, but the injection is still available! And he's still able to survive. I mean, even if he goes down now, the damage has been done.
And Sparty has the soul, I should say, at least. Quite a lot of health to go with. Mega health. Mega health on Doomslayer. We know this is a dangerous situation now. But Winrar haven't been able to build a percentage now for about 1.5 minutes or so. So Myztro doing a good job of just not letting them capture at least. Oh, but that gauntlet. Goodbye FaZe.
Bus Driver X, his defensive capabilities. In recent weeks, with Sorlag, I know he's been doing phenomenally well with Sorlag anyway, but we've seen quite a lot of Bus Driver in recent weeks, and he's been playing superbly well in Sacrifice every time we see him.
Sparky's taking a little bit of damage, but still has quite a lot of health left to go with, but outnumbered. As Razy's going to finish him off with that super shotgun. Razy, though, himself is quite weak. Juvenile, Bus Driver getting a couple of frags, respectively. Oh, and Hell gets taken out. That super shotgun in those close quarter settings. Very dangerous.
This has been quite, even though it seemed to be quite a dominant win for Winrar, it's been a long round. I mean, 8 minutes.
This is just round 1, too. I mean, Like we said, we kind of expected this to be a bit of a longer game.
It's looking like we're going to have a round 2 soon. When he got a little more percentage to take, Hell kind of has to just try and pile in and waste a little bit of time. Here come the rest of Myztro, but if they lose this fight, that's likely to be the round. They're able to drop things off.
At least. What does Razy do? He's trying to pick it up. Has it? Only has a gauntlet though. Gauntlet and a machine gun. That is not the equipment to actually win a fight on his way back to try and drop it off. Rocket launcher.
Oh, Juvenile was actually temporarily distracted there.
Oh, but the power have actually lost the quad damage in the process. Even if they drop off the soul, Winrar, they do have quad on their side.
Waiting for the LG. Very intelligent to make sure Bus Driver's the one that collects that. So you can pretty much wipe out.
Oh, no one, apparently. He's dead. He is gone. But that's good for Myztro. They've held on to it. They're going to drop that quad damage off. And Garpy's there to pick it up. Now, if Myztro want to win this round, they have to hold on to this soul as long as they physically can. Winrar being 1%.
Oh, no.
Sparty comes in with that quad damage, but FaZe again. FaZe shutting down quad twice in a row. FaZe has just been that complete, just dominant force for Myztro in this game.
Juvenile goes down as well.
I mean, is this going to be the start of the comeback? I mean, the power-up is gone.
It's definitely possible.
And look, Winrar starting to trickle in one at a time. Do we think Myztro can make this happen?
I mean, it's never impossible to make a comeback when you're in this kind of situation. They're controlling the fights really well. This is very important actually to make sure there's always someone around to sort of prevent them from collecting the LG. If they haven't got an LG, piling onto this point is going to be very, very difficult. They kind of had the bonus of being able to spawn a little bit closer to it on this half of the map. So as you can see right there, you know, just controlling that Super Shotgun, Mega, and LG location is going to be very hard for them to get that crucial weapon that they all need. On the direct!
But Two is down. That's a lot of damage getting up very quickly. FaZe is just a man possessed. Trying to go, but he's very low on health. If he just gets hit by anything now, he's probably going to die. But Garpy getting a frag on Juvenile, gets taken down. Liths with that gauntlet kill. Myztro need to hold on to this desperately. The soul gets taken away. No, it's actually going to be recaptured by Myztro.
Swiftly brought back. Sparty's caught on the jump pad. Hang on a minute.
3 frags coming out for Myztro, 80%. Are Myztro making this comeback happen?
It's definitely possible. The power-up spawns in 15 seconds now. Winrar, they've got to make a choice. Do we fight for the power-up or do we just try and get the soul back? Will they even have the luxury of a choice?
Hell, missing a lot of these crucial rails. That's 3. That's going to be a contended soul.
Oh no!
There's a gauntlet.
Oh no!
Missed rails will be crucial for Myztro. They were in the process of making a comeback. It still is 1%, and Winrar, they have the protection as well.
Oh, there goes Anarchy into light speed. That was insane. Bus Driver is ridiculously weak as well. They have the protection. I don't think it's going to be possible for them to come back now. That is very, very unfortunate indeed.
Oh no, he dropped it off. That's going to be it. He still has the protection. FaZe manages to take the soul away. Does it? No, it falls back down. It just ever so slightly bounced back into the obelisk. And they aren't here. Myztro, they started an amazing comeback, but a few missed rails from hell enabled them to take the soul away. I know hindsight sucks. And that is some hindsight.
I don't want it to sound like we're pinning the blame.
Of course.
But those rails missed were really, really crucial.
I feel like, not to blame Hell for all of it, but I feel like there's no avoiding that point. That Hell was the one defender there, and the 3 shots he missed would have been enough to stop that soul from being taken away. So unfortunate for Myztro, but it's just amazingly played by Winrar to keep themselves composed in the face of fighting what could have been a huge comeback.
But what Myztro can take away from that is how, even though we didn't make the comeback, we were very, very close to doing so. They've proven that even in that location, they've been able to defend really well. So it looks like that FaZe might be able to, fumbles his movement a tiny little bit. But if he can drop this off, no,
Liths with the denial rail right as FaZe was trying to capture B. Just stops him dead in his tracks. And now Winrar have Obelisk B again. This is by far the Obelisk they favored last time, and they're going to get it back to back in 2 rounds.
Here comes the timing. Not having that next. Oh, Juvenile, not too much because he gets the quad damage. And it's a very similar start to what we saw in round number 1.
Juvenile having quad. Oh, hang on a minute. Razy with the denial. And FaZe is able to salvage and pick up that quad. Winrar, they've lost the soul. That injection is popped. Oh, but immediately dies. Bus Driver damage combined with rocket launcher. As before, this is what happens a lot with quad damage. As soon as you pick up that quad, you are immediately the #1 target. You are the player that everyone wants to take down. Hell, though, has the soul.
Not a lot of health, so he's still going to be super vulnerable.
Yeah, and there we go to survive that. FaZe is there trying to salvage it, but Sparty with a quick double. And Juvenile using that speed of Anarchy trying to drop this back off. Could be a safe recapture. And now again, Winrar have it. 18% and climbing.
Myztro I mean, they showed us they were almost able to make a comeback in the previous round, but they really don't want to be in that situation for a second time in a row. If they're able to get a little bit of an early percentage, maybe even get a lead, I think on just sheer levels of morale, it's going to be useful. Razy opted to go for the reset. So we're going to see the fight take place. These frags won't be hugely important for a couple of seconds until, but no, actually, no reset to be happened at all.
Yeah, they're able to grab it on the way. Juvenile now capturing it again. Well, that's like for a third time this round at least.
Yeah, Juvenile has been on point with Anarchy so far. Hard to pin down, but a lot of the frags have been crucial too.
I think the important thing with the fact that Winrar keep constantly recapturing the soul is that Myztro, they've managed to control and take hold of the soul multiple times, but they are yet to actually get a percentage. Winrar are not letting them safely capture it themselves.
I feel like part of it is this map. Like, at least this early on, where players and teams have had less time to practice on this map than other maps, getting the soul captured from B to A, that trek you have to make, it's historically been quite difficult for teams to make it successfully. You know, Power Up normally has a major part in them being able to get it back. Without it, we don't see them be able to deliver it so often. And I feel like that's a consistent thing among the teams right now. So the start is important.
Myztro are just, they're dumping everything they can into trying to desperately get the soul away, but it just isn't enough. And even then, in all of that chaos, Winrar were able to get the protection on Bus Driver, who has been this kind of defensive powerhouse, this defensive brick wall the entire time. And we saw this from Bus Driver last week. He was very good at just securing the power-up single-handed, and he's doing it again now. And he's positioning himself that if they try and contest, I mean, look, so much damage from the nail gun. Unfortunately, it's all he had. We're still going to die for it. Garpy able to take the soul away, but again can't get out. Winrar just aren't letting them move.
I mean, even if they win at the point, the battle has just begun. I mean, that middle of the map, this is where things get hard, which for that exact reason, they try and go for the fast passage, but if that is the fastest way to get back to the base, you know that Winrar are ready for it, and if you've got a Sorlag lying in wait, really being the bouncer of all bouncers with the acid spit, you're not going to get past that 1 versus 1. That is the prime time opportunity to get melted by acid.
But a nice opportunity now for Myztro. They were able to take the soul away, Razy could confirm it, and now this is probably going to be a dead character. No, hang on! Saved by Lifts! Coming out of nowhere to save his teammate who was carrying in the corner. Please leave me alone. I've got you, friend. And
saving the day. But in a few seconds, here comes another fight in the mid.
Juvenile took a lot of damage there, but wasn't 100% focused. And Garpy with a nice rail.
Bus Driver can't survive too long. 4 backflips in that one.
10 out of 10 for that one.
We can't forget the amount of flips that we see, especially with the rail on a map like this in Sacrifice.
Oh, taken out. FaZe has the soul, but can't get anywhere. Juvenile with that mid-air tracking on the LG. Sparky now trying to top himself back up again. Juvenile has it passed to him. Oh, it's a rail. That's going to be huge.
I mean, he'll still get killed by 1 rail if he gets tipped. No, not quite.
No, he can get safe passage. Even if he dies now to Gauntlet, he still was able to drop it off. That's going to waste some time from Myztro. Winrar, I should say, still have it, and the power-up's going to be up very soon. And Sparty picked up its quad damage again. Myztro really can't afford to lose many more of these power-ups, considering they are not in the lead at all.
That heavy armor being collected is going to make Doomslayer ever so much more difficult to deal with. He's got those base hit point stats. 125 health is deceivingly tanky for someone as small as Doomslayer compared to those tankier champions.
Still though, oh yeah, Sparty was quite weak there. It looks like it's being weighted out, I think. Yeah, Garpy's holding on, waiting out the end of that quad damage. This is a tactic we see teams do a lot. When they know the opponent has the power-up and they have the soul themselves, they will sit in a location, try and hide away, wait for the power-up to be over, and then they'll start to continue again. Because what's the point in capturing if they're just going to come in with the power-up and then just take it away immediately? This is 100% the right thing to do.
Now the power-up's been... well, it has vanished now. But you wonder, just looking for that right moment. They've got quite a lot of work to do. The divide between the percentage is pretty significant here.
The issue is, though, this has given Winrar a lot of time to sit now at the obelisk, which they know they need to try and drop it off, and they're here ready, defending them, keeping them away from their own obelisk. But nice shot from Garpy from across the map.
Putting in all of their forces here. Trying to, I think Garpy's just trying to sort of slip through as, while the rest of the team is distracted. Ghost Walk means he's going to be able to deliver it for free. And at the same time, actually sort of take away that health from Nyx. Unfortunately, with FaZe committing suicide, they're actually going to trade that 1-for-1, and they're starting to pile in. A 1-1 trade is not really what you want.
Still, though, power going to be up in about 20 seconds. A missed rocket is going to get Garpy shot directly in the face by a rocket from Juvenile. Juvenile trying to take the soul away, has stolen it away. Now, this is going to be crucial. If Winrar can get this soul back to their obelisk before this power-up spawns, they can then decide, what do? Do they go for power-up control, or do they keep hold of the soul?
If they get both.
I mean, it's likely here that Myztro are going to try and go for the power-up, because they're going to know that it's, I mean, Juvenile's going to be quite close to dropping it off by now, so it's going to be 3v4 at least when the power-up first starts. They can win this initial fight straight away, but no, they're not going to be able to. The gauntlets come through, and Myztro, they drop 2 players there, and Bus Driver is able to take them both out, and the protection is again taken by Bus Driver.
That's not the first time we've seen Bus Driver do a phenomenal job of securing that power-up. It's one of his greatest assets to this team, is that when he's near the power-up, he's the one that's likely to get it. And if he's got Sorlag behind the wheel, fresh on protection, taking minimal damage along the way, the second the power-up goes in his favor, you've just had to deal with a complete nightmare of a situation.
Still has the protection as well, just trying to put those rockets down. Protection just expired, and now he's probably going to die. As Myztro have 3 people here and get 2 of those frags. Still, Winrar on that 80%, Myztro only on the 20.
Oh! I'll be going in for Berserk. And as always, we see Bus Driver heading him off, and he gets the
got
double!
Both of them as well! At least Garpy was able to drop it off first, but I mean, Garpy had the right idea. He popped Berserk, he knew there was likely to be an opponent there, he just wanted to charge through as fast as he can. He had the right idea, but because Bus Driver was just able to take him out before he dropped off, or, well, just after he dropped off, I suppose, instantly almost.
I feel like that hallway is just not usable. We so consistently see teams, when they try and go through, they just can't get out alive. When's the last time you remember seeing a Sorlag on waiting at the end of that hallway, and the other team with the soul actually surviving that? They've died pretty much 100% of the time throughout today's broadcast.
Look for Myztro. They are losing team members here, and we can see all of Winrar that are currently alive are here defending, and that's 99%, 100%. And Winrar licensed salesmen are going to take the first map off Myztro Gaming. Tempest Shrine looking like a really solid map for Winrar. I think a big part of that was, I think that Winrar were able to take the first obelisk both rounds quite cleanly, and they, like, no hesitation, straight to B every time. And that was clearly a point they were comfortable defending from. And Myztro, they seem to really struggle, because they didn't struggle to get the soul off the obelisk, they struggled to get it back to their own one. I mean, there may have been a couple of times they were able to actually capture some percentage there, but no more than that. It looked like Winrar always had the people in the right locations to stop them from what is effectively the shortest route, is going through that side corridor where there is always a Sorlag or someone with a gauntlet waiting for you. But Winrar, their defense was on point. They didn't really let Myztro get anything going.
I feel like on Tempest Shrine, that one obelisk is a huge factor, because whenever we see Tempest Shrine get played, the team that holds B seems to be the team that is more comfortable, the team that has that. It just looks like they've got an advantage, because whenever you get the soul, bringing it from obelisk B all the way back to A looks very, very difficult. Not just because of that one corridor where there's always going to be a Sorlag there, because Sorlag is likely to always be picked in sacrifice regardless of what happens, but with the fact that obelisk B seems to be the preferred point and it seems to be a little bit easier to defend, the success kind of proves for itself. The results are starting to show that. That does really prove that the start of the round is by far the most important time in the round, because you got to make sure that you are the team that gets that advantage.
But going into the next map of the series, it's going to be Blood Covenant. So this will have been the next map the team's deciding to go for. Looks like one of the Myztro guys is currently not in the lobby, so you're just going to wait for them to come back in.
He's back in.
Hell has just rejoined.
Welcome back, Hell.
Not going to keep us waiting for too long then. But still, we're going to be going into this next map as soon as we can, into Champion Select. But things looking strong for Winrar. They were the team that put Myztro into the losers bracket earlier on in the tournament. It was 2-0 then as well. So you know, Winrar are going to be feeling confident at the moment. They are yet to drop a map to Myztro at the moment. That map specifically, they just looked really good. They looked really happy playing on that map. And I mean, considering it's quite new to competitive play, at least on sort of this major scale, I suppose, it's nice to see that players are already going into that map with like full force and a clear game plan.
Now, the mind games are prominent at this level in play, especially this far in tournament. Now, if you are fighting off against the Winrar licensed salesmen and they've beat you in tournament before, they've beat you today as well. Particularly today, seeing as it was a very strong win for Winrar earlier on in the winners bracket, and now they've just taken the first map again in dominant fashion. The rounds were quite long, but the percentage difference was still quite significant. But, you know, by the exception of the potential comeback we saw in round one that was quickly snuffed by the end of it. But I feel like if you're going up against a team that has beat you before, they're beating you again, and they're in the process of repeating that process to get into grand finals, it's going to take real mental fortitude to just overcome that hurdle before you can even start to win a round.
Well, a big part of Myztro, though, is that kind of, like you said, right, they were in the process of making a comeback, but were kind of snuffed before they succeeded the entire comeback. I feel like Myztro are the kind of team that, if they managed that comeback, they would have won the next round. Because when you build up that much momentum and that much force and that much confidence as a team, Myztro are the kind of team that they will take that and they will just run with it and they will end up winning the map due to it. But if you can stop them from ever reaching that point to begin with, and you stop them from getting any kind of momentum, then they never reach that point that they become that unbeatable team. And I think Winrar are doing a good job of consistently just stopping them from building that momentum and keeping things the way they want it to be.
Well, we're 20 seconds away in this warm-up, so we'll be quickly into the next map as soon as possible. But once more, this could be our final map. This is our losers final, so the winner of this map, if Myztro win, obviously they'll tie things up 1-1. But if Winrar take this win, they're going to get that wrong back versus Stacked. They've got one map to try and prove that with, but this is not the final challenge. We are getting close to finding out our qualified players, but we're not quite there yet. We have this map to go.
You have to remember, though, this is for Dreamhack Winter. This is for that huge prize pot payout. And only one team is going to be qualifying from Europe today. Stacked wait in the grand finals on the winner's side for the winner of this series. And so far, Winrar are winning the series 1 map to 0. If they win this, they will get their rematch versus Stacked. But Garpy running immediately with that berserk. Oh, no! Bus driver spitting acid point blank with a gauntlet, and no amount of berserking Doomslayer is going to be able to out-damage that.
That was at the final hurdle, you know, right at the top of those stairs. You would have been rewarded with the obelisk drop.
Captured it because of it as well. Garpy he did like 99% of the work for them there, and then he fell on that last percent. Winrar they captured it immediately, and as is Sacrifice to do all that work. But looks like Garpy was able to take the power up at least. Doesn't have a lot of weapons, but has the power up. That is by far the most important thing.
And LG is going to be all he needs. A little bit of a return fire there. Garpy versus Hell, the 1v1. But I mean, he's got to be careful here. Yes, he's got an LG. Yes, he's got quad, but a couple of good rails, and that's it. He's dead.
Oh, Juvenile gets taken out immediately. For some reason, Winrar just don't have a lot of people here ready to defend.
I wonder if they're already preparing for the soul to be taken, so they've sort of put their resources towards fighting in the middle instead. Especially knowing that Garpy was going to have quad right there, and he was heavily stacked up. A nice amount of health. It's the drop off.
Juvenile did a good job chasing Hell there, doing a lot of damage, but he was able to drop it off, but immediately taken by Winrar. It was unfortunate for Myztro after doing all that work and losing the soul straight away.
It's a really good pass to Juvenile. Using that double jump with Doomslayer to sort of just guarantee that height to get the pass towards the rocket.
Oh, 2 good frags for Myztro though. They can take the soul on this.
Heavy armor too.
Yeah, that's a really good turnaround. Hell could be very tanky now. Razy probably going to die, but Hell has the soul. But taking a lot of damage. Rockets chewing him up, stuck in the middle. And already Winrar just have enough people. Guppy try to take the soul, but will probably die before he hits the ground. 1 health, 0 health. Juvenile finishes him off. But Myztro here. Wow, this is a complete back and forth from start to finish. And Myztro coming off better for it.
Oh, Bus Driver got a really good acid spit. Wasn't able to finish the job, but he was able to do a little bit of extra damage the second the Mega got collected. Liths with the pickup. So many members of Winrar already on that soul location. They're on the verge of bringing it back. Myztro, they're doing a good job of being able to bring it back, but they're not able to hold it for long.
Oh, and Hell coming in at full speed with that gauntlet, but won't be able to take out Sparty. Not too far away there. But Sparty's very low, only 10 health. Bit of armor, but armor doesn't help too much if you don't have the health to sponge.
It does seem, though, like Winrar salesmen just haven't had the same issues being able to escort their soul back. You know, it's just come down to just their ability to...
Oh, he didn't see him! Oh. FaZe went straight past. I don't think FaZe was ready for him to be waiting around the corner.
I mean, that was sneaky stuff indeed, especially because he was actually holding the soul at the time, too. I think they must have decided to pile in. FaZe must have decided to just try in and fight for that power-up. But the power-up does go to Winrar again. This has been such an unfortunate round. Myztro have had a very hard time against Winrar today.
Didn't have one person here. It was Razy, but Razy by himself. They are sort of going in one at a time here, trying to contest, but even then, like, it seems like even when they're trying to regroup before, Winrar just have the right people. I mean, they're watching the power-ups, they're watching the rail, they're watching the rocket, and they're watching below. They know the angles they're likely to get attacked from. They know the weapons that Myztro need to bring this point back. They're just not letting them do anything. They're just denying them anything.
On this map in particular, particularly on that the Obelisk B that we can see Winrar currently sitting on, those sort of like long-range rockets or those long-range rails, they're really important for just picking off damage as your team starts to close in space. But if you're able to like circle around those weapons and those locations and just deny them, control them yourself, you're denying the tools that the opponent team needs to make that comeback possible.
Our Bus Driver is removed as he is going to fall down there, but Lith's getting a rocket kill on Garpy. Oh, and FaZe managing to take the soul.
But they've historically had a hard time dropping it off, so can he get out alive? That's what I wonder.
That's what we're looking for. FaZe has a lot of health, a lot of armor, but with that kind of lineup that Winrar has, can quickly go. He fell off the side, and no, Sparty is there, ready to catch the soul. drops it down, pops that berserk, running full speed ahead back to the obelisk, and now it's 80%. This lead is just increasing second by second. Razy gets taken out another time, and FaZe coming through with the super nail gun, getting 2 frags, but does ultimately fall down anyway to Bus Driver, who is this defensive force. And Garpy trying to move through, quite weak himself, but this entire time Winrar have a building percentage, and Juvenile with a rocket.
Taking the soul with 10 health, you're only going to survive for so long. The power-up's going to be coming into play any minute now, 5 seconds to be exact. It's going to be so hard for them, because if Winrar get this power-up, it could be game over, especially if it's protection. It's not going to be, but Juvenile with the Anarchy, with the shotgun, I mean, this is a deadly combination, even without any other weapons stocked.
FaZe waiting out with this quad, with this power up, I should say, knowing that Winrar have quad damage. I mean, he has to be careful. Does he sit and wait? But if he waits too long, he's going to die anyway and give the soul up.
Hang on a minute. Hell was able to get 1 frag. Razy hasn't got a huge amount of health, but the quad damage. I wonder if he's actually going to be able to use it. The quad didn't really achieve a huge amount right there compared to what we normally see. 1 frag is going to be useful, but they've been able to get the drop off, and now they've only got 5% more. Myztro, they need to make something happen. They need to make it happen right now. They're going in one at a time because they have no choice. FaZe tries to waste as much time as possible, but there's just no one on the point. No one to contest, and that's going to be a clean 100% versus 7. That was a convincing round. It's going to be match point for Winrar licensed salesman. Half the work's been done already, and this is just looking harder and harder for Myztro to get something happening with.
I mean, Myztro, they were looking so good before. They've been really getting better and better as these weeks have gone on, and even to today, they were looking unstoppable before, but Winrar just, they have that edge over them right now. And Winrar, a big part of it, right, is that early start. We say it all the time, and it remains to be relevant. That early start, that first soul, that first power-up. Winrar consistently getting the better of them as soon as things start off. Has been giving them a huge advantage early on, which has always been.
However,
Myztro,
Lith's getting fragged. Lith's losing Nyx right now during like the 3% period it took for the soul was going to be sufficient to remove the threat of Nyx's Ghost Walk from play, and because of that, they were able to get the drop off. How much percentage they climb before it gets delivered? I think that remains to be seen.
So the fact that Hell was able to drop it off on the obelisk like milliseconds before dying to acid, I mean, that was quite close to being a complete disaster.
They have the lead, but only temporarily. Juvenile's not going to be able to fight for this power up. You can actually see Myztro, they've piled in 100% towards this soul. They've not really been focusing on the power up, and that will allow Winrar to most likely seize this. Actually, no, they've lost a huge amount of players.
Power up is there, I think, for damage taken by Hell. Yeah, Winrar actually didn't go for the power up at all in that situation. They just died.
They lost a lot of people during that time. Oh, Hell with a nice little double.
Garpy coming through with the soul. Hell did drop, but the quad damage is swiftly picked up by FaZe. Alright, this is a much better start for Myztro. They got the first power up, they got the first cap.
Oh no!
They need to hold on to it as much as they can, but Razy around the corner with that quad. Oh, quick acid, double kill. I think they both must have just stepped a toe on the puddle.
Not a huge
Quad
amount
damage puddle.
Yeah, quads ran out, but I think it was a really good use there of Razy, just sort of using those 2 long-range weapons to create that distance. They have got a much better start than they had last time. That's a nice little direct as well, Juvenile. I mean, he was not going to survive that one. No way.
So they're going in for the follow-up. Bus Driver's going to get that frag, and we now know that Myztro are probably going to be outnumbered here. FaZe gets 1 frag onto Sparty. Bus Driver trying to get it here, but doesn't got a lot of health himself. Hell's going to fall down. Garpy's going to take a return frag, and Lith does the exact same thing.
Just 3 people running a ring around the obelisk with a gauntlet. That's insanity.
That was exact, just trade for trade for trade for trade, and ultimately Myztro were able to win that one ahead and come through. Spike is taken out by a lot of nails. Wow! FaZe just firing in that direction, but Juvenile, that super shotgun.
He did a chunk of damage. Bus Driver's quite weak now.
Passing the soul up was able to let Juvenile escape, survive. Sparty there, looking to pick things up. Can't go through the doorway, and this is more what Myztro needs to be doing. They are denying Winrar anywhere in FaZe with a nice swift triple kill with that rocket. They are not letting Winrar anywhere near now.
Here comes the power up. But it looks like Winrar, I mean, they're still trying to actually, if anything, sort of keep Myztro away from the power up. Just keep Garpy at arm's reach. We do see Juvenile trying to sneak in there, though. He actually wins the 1 versus 1. And this is a fantastic opportunity.
Yeah, all 4 of Myztro have been taken down there. And then Myztro had a lot of percentage there. Razy falls down immediately.
I mean, that was just a bad spawn, really.
Quad damage too. After all that, Winrar was still able to take the soul through. Quad damage actually still has quite a lot left on it, to be honest.
Enough to get, it's enough to get 1 frag or 2, I think. And at this stage, a couple of frags, putting them behind while the rest of your team sort of close in and do a really strong defense. FaZe soon to follow.
Really sort of peppering down, and there we go. Immediately throws that soul away. Electric's been picked up by Hell. Yeah, Hell was able to get through with the plasma trail, covering all that speed straight away. Drops off the soul, and there's the kill on Juvenile. Cannot quite stop him in time, and Myztro with a much better lead this time.
This is a turnaround they so desperately needed, especially after such a dominant round number one. If you're a match point down against a team that has beat you in tournament before, I mean, I said it earlier, mental fortitude to a ridiculous degree is required. And Myztro, they have the experience in sacrificing these team modes. They've played together a lot, be it they've got a recently new roster for the Dreamhack qualifiers, but they are going to be familiar with one another. They go way back, not even in Quake Champions, but these guys go way back years and years of Arena FPS.
It's going to be a capture at the very least from Juvenile, even though we can see they're trying to stop him. Hell, fall down, and Razy is there ready to pick up the pieces anyway. But he dies immediately. Lith's able to stop him. Now, for the first time in the round, it looks like Winrar are going to be able to get a nice chunk percentage before maybe losing it.
He's wasting a little bit of time. Still so many people there piling in, and that percentage continues to climb.
This is still match point for Winrar. Even though Myztro are winning, Winrar do not have anywhere near as much pressure on their shoulders here. They have a map advantage, and they have a round here. Myztro, they need to win this desperately, or they will not be able to go to the Dreamhack Winter.
Well, Myztro, they've piled in towards the power-up, and they just scored themselves a couple of frags, so it's likely to be theirs, and it is going to be Hell with the protection. And now they've got the soul. Actually opting to allow Razy to take it. I think Hell's probably going to pile in straight forward and maybe actually cut off the defense first, and then Razy can make that safe passage afterwards.
Soul was taken though, they still have it themselves. Stuck in the corner here, but Hell, plenty of health left to go considering he has that protection. That's going to be a good win for them. The protection is going to be running out very soon, but still 75% almost now and climbing.
That was that was actually really good teamwork there from Hell. Like, we so normally see it's the player with protection that is normally the one that is given the soul, and that's a really nice rocket as well, by the way. But I mean, like, normally, if the player has protection, they get the soul, they can sort of run into the obelisk and drop it off really quickly. But in that instance, Razy was the one that was making the passage, and Hell was boosting off ahead to deal with the teammates that were lying in wait.
This is a much better attack now for Winrar. The soul has been taken off the point. Juvenile quite low. He's going to be very careful trying to get this one back now. See all of Myztro here. Various positions to try and stop him. Cracks coming through. Razy waiting with the gauntlet in the most likely to go place. Very well played, but Busdriver is there ready and waiting. And that's probably going to be a capture. Busdriver has a lot of health, not die immediately, but he hasn't got enough to maybe survive for too long.
I love this idea that right at that minute, Razy actually tossed the soul into Busdriver X in that 1v1. I feel like that was going to kind of double up as both you're now able to use your acid spit, but if you pass the soul to Busdriver X, he's then temporarily not able to use his ability if he had it available.
Still though, even though Myztro have that 90% lead, it is 90 to 60. The power-up is going to be 25 away. This is an awkward decision time for Myztro. Do they keep pouring into this point to try and take the soul away? Or are they just going to invest heavily into the power-up soon? They are starting to die one at a time. Yep, Razy getting a nice frag though. Maybe going to take some. No, but Juvenile with a rocket stops him from stopping the soul at least. Percentage going to continue to build.
Well, here comes the power-up. We can see two members of Myztro have already piled up. Garpy being fragged there means he kind of has no choice but to go for the power-up as well. But just look at these rockets. They took so much damage trying to go in. FaZe falls as well. And that is heavily likely to be Winrar's quad damage. Juvenile is going to begin the rampage.
This is a problem though. They have the soul. They only have 12% left to go, and they have the majority of the power-up left to go. Juvenile has a lot of health. Hell drops down. Okay, 92%. This is make or break for Myztro. They are a map and a round down. They have 5% left to go.
They have to deal with this quad damage, but I don't even know if they have time. Razy has to pile in, but I mean, there's very little risk for Juvenile. He just takes head after head, and with the amount of quad damage he had left to go, that was a hard push to make, and Myztro Gaming are unfortunately unable to do anything about it. Winrar license sales will move into grand finals where they will get their run back versus Stacked.
That was a really good round from Myztro for the vast majority of the time. You know, they were consistently able to pull ahead, like I said before, getting that good early start, getting the first power up, getting the first soul. They managed to secure both, and they were able to really build a lead upon that. And they maintained that lead for the majority of the game until the very end, the last minute and a half or so, where Winrar they took one soul right as the power up was kind of close to being up, kind of far away at the same time. It's kind of, up and down. Do we go for the obelisk? Do we go for the power up? And they kind of split. 2 went for the obelisk, 2 went for the power up. Both secured the power up, but immediately died before being able to do anything for it, which then obviously gave Winrar the power up and the obelisk for that final time. And by that point, there just wasn't much they could do.
And then Juvenile at the last minute put them in a really difficult situation because he had quad. He was sitting near the sort of heavy armor location underneath the bridge, where if Myztro are coming from the top of the bridge, you kind of need to sort of split your focus. We need to pile in on the obelisk where there are enemies, but Juvenile was now sitting on the left-hand side underneath bridge with an LG ready to go. And even if we're on the ground, he was just able to sort of pepper rockets if he needed to. You kind of, when you jump down on that bridge, if that's the decision you make, you got to make a choice. Do I look left or do I look right? And either way, there was going to be someone there ready to stop you. But within like the seconds you had to make something happen, you couldn't think about it. You had to jump down on that bridge because you didn't have time to go for a detour. And that was, you were damned if you do, damned if you don't. But that was just really well played by Juvenile, positioned himself perfectly and put them in a situation where really they couldn't win. Not at the last minute. That was an impossible situation.
Right, that does mean we have 2 teams remaining in the European side of the Dreamhack Winter Qualifier. Only one of them can move through to qualify for that $200,000 prize pot sacrifice tournament. While we get those teams ready to go and we get things underway for this grand finals, we're going to go to another quick break. So don't go anywhere because we will be right back.